time zone, but I know it's going to be one of the two. Okay, we have this very important discussion to have this moment, and I've titled it Overcoming Imposter Syndrome. This is something that I believe you need to pay keen attention to. If you feel you are not experiencing what it is by the time we enter the conversation in details, I can tell you for free, you will likely face it later, especially when you begin to do bigger stuff. You know, I've told some of you, especially those who are in closer group, that where you are right now is not incomparable to where you will be tomorrow. Because I'm very sure of the potential that God has blessed most of you with. But this thing we are dealing with today is one of the demons that we need to lay to rest on time. If not, on your way up, you self sabotage. Are you saying that? If we don't quickly deal with this, you know, I've had a fair share of what it means. So I'm not teaching something that is theoretical. I can relate with it very clearly. And I know how limiting that can be. Maybe let's quickly set a background for the conversation. I know everyone you have heard about imposter syndrome, but a lot of times we say yes to things we don't know the meaning. We just believe we know what it means, but in the real sense, you probably might not really know what it means. So when we talk about imposter syndrome, it's by definition, you can see different definition, but in a simpler term, I describe it as continuous consideration of your sources as undeserved and fraudulent impression that may soon be uncovered. In a nutshell, imposter syndrome is you seeing whatever is going on in your life as something that you don't really merit. And this is so particular to people who are rising from the low part of the earth. That is, people who didn't have greatness as the default setting of their formative years. Are you getting what I'm saying? I remember a situation, I read about Maya Angelou. Some of you would have heard about that amazing woman who died at age 86 or so. A very, prolific writer in her days. And she was described as a memorist, somebody that, she scripted her own memoir before she died. But at a point, the woman on her own admission said she felt that I hope people won't eventually find out that all I'm doing is a game. Are you saying that? So the woman got to the point where she started feeling that even though this level of success was happening to her, that people might eventually find out that she is not actually what she presented herself to be. And many of us, we battle with this internal agitation. That is what it means to have imposter syndrome. Such that you get to an environment and you feel you are not worthy of what is going on there. And those of you who have tasted some level of, will I call it open doors right now, or higher echelon that is bigger than what we were used to, you can relate to what I'm saying. And for the rest of you, probably you may need to just save this video as something for your future investment. All right. So that is the idea of imposter syndrome. It is this perception that people may eventually find out that I'm not as deep as they think I am. I am not as, dexterous as they think I am. I am not as powerful as they perceive me to be. So because of that, you are living in fear every day. It is this same attitude that make people feel the successes they are enjoying may not be long lasting. That I don't know. Probably you have some millions in your account in your early 20s and you are wondering, I don't know what's going to happen by the time I cross 30, 40, 50, 60 years. Will I still have this money? Will I still have this success? Will I still be the man that people can respect? All those agitations are not natural. They are the basic reflection of imposter syndrome. I'm going to be a bit vulnerable in this teaching tonight, because I'm aware, cognitively and consciously that I'm dealing with a lot of people. I'm speaking to a lot of people who are coming from where you will call the backside of the earth for now. Are you seeing that? And I know exactly what it means. I've lived in Africa, like I said, for 3 decades. And I've related in different places in corporate organization, in religious environment. And now I live in a community that is predominantly white. So, and I can tell you for free some of these internal agitations that people go through. Let me share a funny story with you. In the year 2013, that was the year that there was a national strike by the academic, what do you call them? ASU, academic staff, right? Of universities, something like that. That year, when there was ASU strike, I remember I was in part two in the university going to 300 level or something. I now went home from school. Pay attention to what I'm saying. I grew up in Anglican Youth Fellowship. I served there. I was the Adjudicating Bible Study Coordinator. I've been teaching Sunday school from a very young age, to be honest. In fact, I believe church taught me most of the skills I'm using today. That's why you can't see me as one of the people criticizing the church, so to speak. All right, we can't deny that there are a lot of things not being done right there, but we can't deny the invaluable, asset that the system has given to us or impacted to our lives. So what I'm saying is, I now went from campus back home. So I remember the people who were leaders of the fellowship at the time. They were people older than I was. They are older than me, really, literally. So when I got home, they were having a meeting and I entered into that meeting. I'm talking about 12 years ago now. I entered into the meeting as the meeting was ongoing, and everybody, they were just so excited. The response was massive, and it was not a general fellowship meeting. It was supposed to be a secluded meeting for a selected few. I think for the executive and the people in prayer department. So the way they were rejoicing that this brother is around, and literally I began to cringe. I began to cringe. A lot of people might not really pick it in my face, but I was wondering, why are they excited? And I said to inside of me, I'm nobody. My presence won't change anything. And the one who was leading what they were doing said, thank God that Brawali has joined us tonight. We know there's going to be a shift in this thing we are trying to accomplish. I said, my God, what do I have to offer? Just me that I'm an undergrad on campus. If you are getting what I'm saying, keep the chat box engaging. I like that normally. Are you saying that? So I began to feel threatened, to be honest, that these people they are putting me under pressure, all of that. So that was a phase, right? I also remember there was this time I applied for a job. Maybe 20, can I remember now? Maybe 2017 or something like that. That I wanted to serve as a medical rep to a multinational company, a multinational pharmaceutical company. In the application, they wrote specifically that people who studied pharmacy were the people preferred. I did not study pharmacy. I read industrial chemistry. Are you seeing that? Then I applied for that role. So when we got to Lagos, I began to see different persons, different individuals who were pharmacists, some who were experienced on the field. They were already working as reps. I had never worked as a rep as at that time. I think I just finished National Youth Service or something. So as we walk into the room in Amuwodof in Lagos, I got to the company, everything was okay, I saw the whole setting. They welcomed all of us. Then people got to talk about their personal profile, what we call otherwise called bio today. So As people were saying different things, you will hear, I'm a graduate of social university, a master degree holder, studied pharmacy, some say studied biochemistry, I've worked as a medical rep for 4 years, all of that. To be honest, the people I related with that day, all of them already or potentially dwarfed my perception of myself. So I literally began to wonder, why will I be considered for this position? Really? See the kind of people I was competing with. Just pay attention. I spoke about 2013. I'm speaking about 2017 right now. But you see, I stated in all sincerity, I couldn't proceed with enthusiasm the way I would have loved to because I was literally afraid. But by the time I walked into the room, I can mention the name of the company for you right now. By the time I walked into the room, part of what I want to teach you today was exactly what I practiced and applied that day. In the real sense, by my own assessment, I've self disqualified myself outside until I remember they described themselves. They didn't know who I was. So it's my duty now to go and speak to that. Whatever made this company to invite me for this interview, I did not indicate there that I studied pharmacy. So I don't know why they invited me. So the fact that they have invited me, I was qualified to be around because I was already feeling unqualified. But I said, no, they invited me. I didn't force myself here. I was not gate crashing. And I didn't lie in my CV. I only arranged it well. I didn't lie. There was no lie in everything I said there. And I entered into the room. By the time I spoke to a level, the HR paused and said, young man, on your CV, it was not written that you've worked as a medical rep. I said, yes, as a medical rep, quote and unquote. I said, but I grew up as a young boy whose parents were into patent medicine. I said, so I just told them my background around drugs and all of that. And that as we speak, I already enrolled for my master's in pharmaceutical chemistry. That it was not that job that made me enroll for that. Oh, they said, well, I said, yeah. So I began to tell them about my interest while I was with my parents in their patent medicine store and how I applied for pharmacy. I didn't get it, but later, all those kind of stories. And that eventually, that's why I was doing farm camp and that I was going to eventually go into drug development and research. The man was excited. The man said, you see, they began to talk to me about payments, all of that. They were negotiating stuff. And I saw on their faces, I was saying, we have a lot of experienced hires around. But I think this guy also need to start somewhere. It won't be bad for this place to be that place. Are you saying that? So in a nutshell, I was preferred to people who were experienced. Eventually, the consignment they were waiting for, something else happened. They have to pen the whole of that employment. Then later, I didn't go for that. I have to stay with my master's degree fully. That was another personal experience. Are you seeing that? I spoke about Maya Angelou for those of you who were not here when I started, and I shared some personal experiences there. Fast forwarded, all right? Because let me give you personal experience before I begin to talk about some achievers. Then you will relate well with what I'm talking about. So I remember when I eventually finished my master's and I now got a job as a medical rep, but not, please pay attention, not in that same firm. So that was years later, about 4 years to the time I was talking about. Then that was now going to be my first field experience in pharmaceutical industry. Then I remember all the stuff that they were saying years back that this guy has not done this before. What are we? How are we sure it's going to deliver? So my first time on the feed, they gave us official card at that time. They asked the regional manager to work with me. They've trained us already, and they now sent us to the field to go and, you know, detailed our product. That's what we call it, to detail our product. So by the time I got to, I think it was Federal Medical Center in UI, the manager who was part of the people that trained me, who has been in that field for 18 years at that time, you know what it means for you to be speaking about the product for 18 years, was standing behind me and I needed to speak. Guess what? Now, the challenge with my manager was even minimal because if I had messed up the whole thing, my manager would know what's wrong, take over from me, survey the situation, report me back to the office. That is that either as an incompetent staff or all of that, or that someone that still need uh that needed to be retrained. But the worst part would be for you to be speaking nonsense in the presence of consultants. So I was there standing in between two opinions. What would be the impression of the consultant? And it was a clinic. So different medical doctors were lined up like this. And my manager was behind me, not far from me. And I had to speak clearly. That was going to be my first day of speaking as a medical rep on the field. And I said to myself, the fact that this company considered you to be hired means you deserve it, Wale. The people doing this, they don't have two heads. Go ahead, man, and speak. You saying that? Then I proceeded to do what I was going to do. And the moment I broke that inertia, I did that job for a while, moved to a different company before I quitted that and did some other things and now moved to the United States. So I'm saying to you that except you are not doing something serious with your life, you will get to certain point where you feel unqualified for certain tables you are being called to. Now, I'm going to speak to you about the causes, the root cause of this, how to overcome it. So it's going to be a very practical session. It's going to be a very practical session. Let me share another ministerial experience. This one, a lot of people can't share that this kind publicly. While we're in school, I attended Adekunle Ajasin University, AAU in Akungba. I've been preaching now for more than 13 years, like I say, usually. But the idea of the year is nothing. I just want to tell you the kind of things we've gone through and the kind of exposure that led us to do some of the things we are doing today. So I remember on campus that year, they used to invite us for different unit retreats. Some of you who attended campus fellowship, you can relate what I'm saying. And a few of the guys who were my junior colleagues in school, I know Barista is there, his younger brother is there, a few of them like that, they could relate what I'm saying. So there, it's not today that I've been speaking in this format. So people felt these are people who can teach wisdom, teach the Bible, but they don't have power. Are you seeing that? So I remember, I'm talking about 12 years ago, they invited me for a retreat, right? And they said, word session, Bra Wale Ajishafe. Impartation session, they gave another brother who is now a pastor I don't want to go into the details. So, for me, whatever you ask me to do in a place, that's what I'm going to do, and I will leave. But by the time I got there, I did my teaching, I left. It didn't take too long. I realized that began to happen from one fellowship, from one unit to another. They said, "Oh, bro, Wale, we want you to come and take either prayer session or teach or take the word session." Then later it moved to general retreat of the whole fellowship. So they said, teach, then somebody to come and do impartation. And our general idea of impartation, get to the meeting, stretch forth your hands as I begin to speak now. The power of God will move from person to person. Thou power of God, move. 1, 2, 3. Po, po. People are falling, shares are breaking, all of that. So, for a while, please pay attention. I began to also imagine that really, let me stay with my teaching now, since that is what I'm known for. Meanwhile, guess what? Nobody has asked me to do the other part they were giving to other people, but all of us somehow subscribe to that reality that I won't be able to dare this thing out. To be honest with you guys, it became something I was not interested in doing. So if you bring me to a place, I just want to do my teaching, pray for the people, get out. Pray for the people, get out. But guess what? I was invited somewhere away from my familiar territory. Those ones, they have met me teach the Bible. So the atmosphere where we met was not about anything that requires demonstration of the Spirit. So they just saw me teach and all of that. There's someone that invited me, and in their letter, they said they are giving you 2 sessions to preach first and do impartation in the evening, my heart cut. Please pay attention. I'm like, wait, I don't do this in my fellowship. They always bring some people, you know. If I remember, I finished teaching in one meeting like that, and somebody came to meet me. He said, I saw the program where you went to preach, that your name was written as the word minister, another person to come and do impartation. He said, what's the difference between teaching and impartation? In fact, let me quote the name of the person. His name is Alaba Agbakozi. He's married to my younger sister now. He was the one who asked me that question. I said, it's the choice of the people. He says, so what you went to do is the imputation. You impute word. Then the person is imparting spirit. All of that. We laughed about it. But you see, the day I was now going for that meeting, now the letter has indicated my responsibility. So this one, you can't do the familiar things you've been doing before. So you know what they're expecting. They expect you to teach, they expect to finish teaching. Then in the second session, come and do demonstration of the spirit. So you have to now confront what you have not faced before. All of that. So I remember part of what I'm about to teach you tonight was what I applied. And by the time I got to that meeting, even God himself surprised me that I have to be in awe that wait. So that would be the first day. Now I've been preaching leading prayers in before, and people will start screaming. That happens normally when people are charged up, or the atmosphere that has nothing to do with you sometimes. But this one, you have to be the one to do it. That was there broke from the inertia that what people call me is not necessarily who I am. I'm the one who describe myself to them. So from those years till now, that's why it's difficult for anybody to put me in a box. You can't succeed. No matter your intelligence, no matter your weight, you can't. Are you saying that? So these are some of the experiences. Let me add another one personal experience so that you know where some of the areas where this teaching is coming from. I remember 2023 when I got to the United States, I was taking a course. They call it research ethics and all of that. I was the only black person in that class. Guess what? I was not only, you could be a black American and you can speak their accent, all of that. I was not only black, I'm a black international. So I can't speak their usual, you get what I'm saying? And this was supposed to be an interactive class where you have to relate consistently with the instructor by speaking. In fact, you are being graded by your communication in that class. So I got there, I look all around. So people started talking, and I smiled. You know, it was not weighty again like it used to be in the previous experiences I've mentioned, where you feel, am I just in the wrong room right now? But when I entered that room, I smiled because at that level, I've crossed the boundary of having respect for the color of my skin or for the tone of my voice. By the time we're done, now this is a live session. What I'm telling you happened in Mississippi State University. The lecturer who took the course called me by herself and said, your conversations were very engaging and they reveal some level of critical thinking and intelligence. Please keep that energy up. But that was a class that when I started talking the first day, everybody, they were saying, huh, yeah, I'm saying, huh, because they didn't hear me, literally. But I didn't stop. I noticed a friend from one other country that I'm not going to mention, who has the tendency to be heard better. The first day he spoke and they did that same response, huh, huh. He said, what? The guy didn't speak to the end of that class. I've left that rep. Because why I'm teaching you what I'm teaching you tonight is because you will not tell your own story in your generation until you overcome what I'm saying. And certain good doors that are already opened effectually unto you, you will close it by yourself until you master what I'm saying. Until you master what I'm saying. Do you know how many vocal guys who have received the award in Africa, but they get to Western world, they can't make physical contribution anywhere because of fear? How am I going to cope? You heard the story of a woman who was appointed in the United Kingdom, a Nigerian. Someone who has built her life with a lot of successes to that stage where she was recognized, awarded, and being appointed into a position. By the time she was speaking with people who were closer to her, she told them that since the day I've been appointed to this office, I've been afraid if I'm not going to disappoint the people. So this is something that a lot of times grow up with people and journey with them to, heights where you can't imagine. Let's look at the real causes of imposter syndrome. If you've gotten me so far to the point where I'm standing now, or where we are right now, put it in the comment box. Just say V, write V. V means value gotten. Write V hyphen G. And if you're not getting value, don't write anything. Like I said, don't be encouraging people by telling lies. If you are not blessed in the meeting, keep quiet. It doesn't make you a bad person. But if you are blessed, if you feel you are enlightened, communicate it. Are you seeing that? Communicate it. All right. I can see that. Keep the energy up. Keep the energy up. All right. So, what are the root causes of these terrible, you know, self-limiting tendencies that a lot of people manifest? The first one, which all of us we know, is fear. Fear. Fear of what? Maybe fear of failure. Maybe fear of the unknown. Fear of the unknown. Some people don't even know what they're afraid of. Say, guy, what's happening? He said, I don't know, but I'm just afraid. I don't know. I don't know what can happen. I remember relating with a senior friend that time back in Nigeria. And the guy said, when you are enjoying, please enjoy it well and be sober. Because after that your enjoyment, the next phase will be trouble. And this was supposed to be a believer that people listen to. He said, so just enjoy that moment because trouble is the next one you will enter. He said, then when you are in trouble, enjoy the trouble a bit too because goodness will follow. I said, Oga, there's nobody with this ideology that will not live a life that is chaotic. It will be a life that is characterized with chaos. It will be chaotic. So it's fair. We have this fear of what if they find out that I'm not as solid as they think I am? Then what if I fail? What if? What if not? If you are thinking, what if you fail? What if you succeed? What if you succeed? They ask somebody to pray for the sick. He said, what if I pray for this person and the person does not get healed? Good. That is your humanity speaking. The next question is, what if you pray for the person and the person got healed? We have this tendency of tilting towards negativity more than enough. We just feel persuaded that that is the right thing to do. So it's fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of being rejected, fear of being cancelled, fear of being invalidated. That's one. Number two, trauma of being objectified or silenced. People who have been silenced before, people who were not really treated as humans, they were treated as one of the numbers. They were broken with words. People really objectify them. You know what it means to objectify somebody? You reduce that person to nothing more than mere objects. When those people grow up, those traumatic responses begin to manifest in everything they want to do. They just feel I'm not good enough. They feel I'm not capable enough. If you want to be vulnerable and what I'm saying affects you, put it in the comment box. Either it affects you before, indicate there, and you came out, or what you are doing now is a deliverance for you. Let us know, right? Are you seeing that? They interviewed a woman in the United States. This is somebody who has gotten to managerial position in one of the, I can't tell because she didn't mention Fortune what the company is, but according to her, it's a top company. He said, but on one occasion, after her last promotion, she remembered what somebody said to her while she was in school. That you know that when you start something strong, you eventually will screw it up. And she literally started feeling this promotion now, this company have been serving them well. They've recognized my impact, but one day I'm going to get everything screwed. Trauma, remembrance of what terrible people have said to you. All right. Then the third cause is the wrong definition of success. What do I mean by wrong definition of success? In most cases, people attach their success to things. People ascribe their own definition of success to accomplishment of a task. By definition, they will tell you that that's correct. The realization of a goal is success. That's fine. That's by definition. But what I'm saying is there are people who have enrolled for higher degrees, not because they need that higher degrees, but because they want to feel among the people who have master's degree or a PhD. I've listened to someone who said, I'm not sure I need the PhD, but that title, I have to get it. You see that person ascribed success into achieving certain things. There is a book which is recommendable if you care to read it by Dr. Sam Adeyemi. The title of the book is Success is Who You Are, Not What You Do. Success is who you are. Thank you, Femi. Yeah, misguided markers of success. Yes. They look at who are the people are respecting now. What are the things they are doing? Who are the people being followed? What are they doing? Then you start doing the same thing. No. What people don't know is you stand the chance to succeed more when you have seen yourself as a success before involving or engaging in anything. Because why? You are approaching that thing as a man whose default reality is success. You are going to succeed at that thing. And when you succeed at that thing, it doesn't validate who you are. It's just a manifestation of the same. Such that if it turns out that you fail, you are not the failure. You only failed at that thing. It's a failed attempt, not a failed personality. But the moment you attach everything in life to something, you will be pursuing that thing. And when you get it, the value will diminish. It becomes normal to you. What's the big deal? That higher degree that you wanted to get in order to brag for everybody, now you get it, it's now meaningless. All right. Then the fourth cause is abuse. Abuse. When people have been abused, they lose their self-esteem. When people have been abused, they lose their self-esteem. Go and check all the rape survivors. Except I'm going to get the out to come out. Except they do some things. Some of them, they lose their sense of dignity for a long time. Some for a lifetime. In a lifetime. Are you seeing that? They begin to feel like this video if you're online, let it come up on people's platform. So they literally feel I'm worthless. Do you know how many ladies who feel unworthy of certain guys asking them out? Abuse. That is, you might have been abused by your parent. Abuse does not mean only sexual molestation, because when you mention abuse, people go to that's part of it. That's more like the height of it. But do you know you may be a virgin, but you've been terribly and grossly abused? They abuse you with words. See the way you look. You don't even, who is going to ask somebody like you out? Then you get to campus feeling unqualified, feeling unworthy of being loved by the opposite gender. So you now see expression of appreciation Okay? As validation. As if somebody is doing you an advantage. Come on now. Then finally, on that in that session, criticism. When you have been harshly criticized, you will begin to doubt your competence. Oh, I've been criticized in a few, you know, in few places, to be honest. There were some that got to my heart. Then until I got to this point where I feel that's your opinion. Your opinion about me is your opinion. Who I am is who I am. And a lot of times you don't get it, you don't get to know it until you pay keen attention. Because if you pay attention to criticism, negative words, they stick faster because of our inclination to evil and what is bad. So we remember them. The one that insulted you and called you a big head right from your secondary school, you still remember it today. But those who are calling you intelligent, you feel they are teasing you. Don't whine me now, Baba, leave me, Jare, leave me, leave me. When you are not wiki, give me, give me, give me. Are you seeing that? So those are the root causes. I need to be fast now for the sake of our time. I have a lot to say on this topic today, and I hope to finish it. I don't want to do part two of it. What are the signs? Because a lot of time, the root cause of what is going on, you may not be able to find out if you are not the kind that is very observant and you can pay attention to diagnose your condition. I've taught that before. It's not on this YouTube, but I taught my people how to get to the root cause of a matter. Because the day you find the root cause of a matter, you solve the problem faster. But when you don't find the root cause of something, you will be applying solutions that are not solutions. They will be the things you perceive as solution. That will mean you are cutting the branches. After a while, it sprouts again. But when you get the root cause, just go there, take it off. That's the end of that thing. But if you don't know the root cause of it, any problem that is recurrent in your life, you don't know the root cause. No matter who is telling you, you know it is a deception. If you know it, you will take it away. You don't like problems like that. Are you seeing that? So you may not know the root cause of your issue, but let me show you signs. If you see any of the following in your life, you are dealing with imposter syndrome. Number one, when you find it difficult to accept compliments. Some of you will post pictures online and they say, "Oh, bro, you are very handsome." You say, "Baba, na camera, oh, na camera." Oh. I said, "Man, you looking good these days." You say, "Well, it's because I'm using iPhone." When you are just always willing to displace, to deflect compliment, this is what we are dealing with. It's not humility, it's imposter syndrome. It's imposter syndrome. That's number one. Number two, when you have the fear of being seen, I don't want them to notice me. If I talk in this meeting now, they'll begin to observe. They will think I'm showing myself. That's the problem. Who is thinking that you are showing yourself? Are you not worthy of being shown off? Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Who light a candle and put it under a butcher? Who does that? You are the one doing it. You are the one doing that. You are afraid to be seen. That means you are afraid to accept your design because you are designed to be seen. That's what I'm saying. You are not designed to show off, but you are designed to be seen. So when you stand in your vantage position, you command attention. And when the attention comes, give glory to God, but don't deflect the attention. That's number two. Number three, when you are afraid that good things going on in your life may not last. Maybe you are in Nigeria and you applied for an international position in the Fortune 100 company, and they gave the job to you. One, you are the only one with that job in your entire local government or your state. No one has done that in your family. Chances are that you will be afraid, and deep down in your heart, you will be asking, God, how long will this thing be? Hope I won't just be a shooting star that is seen today, but after a few years, nobody cares to know if the person is alive or not. A lot of people have this fear. I'm going to show you, even from the scripture. It's not my preaching session, but tonight I'm going to bring some scriptural understanding to you on how to come out of this. Let me be very fast again. Number 5, when you are afraid that people will find out your ignorance, let me explain to you. It is healthy self-esteem for you to stand in public place and to say, "Yeah, actually, I really don't know what you're talking about." Because nobody in the real sense knows everything. But when you have imposter syndrome, you don't want people to know that you don't know. Meanwhile, there are many things we all don't know. Something happened between me and one American, personal story. We're discussing, right? We're not discussing real life matter. We're discussing something in science. She said, "You see, I've told you I'm going to be vulnerable with you today, but it takes some level of personal image to share these things because I don't care." She asked me a question. Basically, she asked me something about instrumentation. I said, "Well, I don't know it." And she began to explain the concept. I said, "No, I understood the concept. I wrote exams on it and I passed it. And I didn't cram it. I understood the concept. But I don't know how to do it. That's what I'm saying." "Oh," he said, "Okay, okay. Probably you have not dealt with the instrument." I said, "Yes." Shortly after that, she came up again and asked another question. Naturally, I felt, this guy is finding me out. She will be thinking, do I know anything? As I was thinking it inside of me, somebody is meeting me. We have not spoken for more than few hours. And the next thing the person is saying is, if you say you don't know this thing again, what then do you know? Guess my response. Pay attention. I said, I don't know it. I said, but I know enough in life not to be ashamed of my ignorance. From that day, that lady does not challenge me anyhow, like she used to box people around. And I was not saying that from the place of arrogance. I'm telling you guys, I know enough not to be ashamed of my ignorance because I'm learning every day. And I'm happy on daily basis to learn new things. So if you are bringing something new to me, you don't know how happy and appreciative I am to you. But to think because I don't know something, I will be afraid around you. What are you talking about? Do you know what I know that you don't know at all? Are you seeing that? We are not supposed to be proud of ignorance. Please pay attention. But when you know enough, to admit your ignorance will not be a problem. I say, I don't know it. That's true. Because I know the day you meet me in my place of power, the same you saying, what do I know? I will school you irrespective of where you were raised. And you will wonder, how did I insult this kind of person? And it happened between me and this person. And I just look at her, I say, this one is not even trained. You are not as intelligent as you think. You just just have some advantage. All right. Number 5, sign. When you overemphasize your weakness. There are things you tell people nobody is asking you. You are being introduced to a bird. And on the first day of your visit or your appearance, you are telling the people, actually, I'm not a good speaker. Who asked you? I'm sorry. They ask you to write something, to submit a presentation. Say, actually, I'm not that good at. Who is asking you that? You just want to confess your weakness. And the reason why you are doing that is so that when they find out, you believe they are going to find out one day. You will say, after I've said it now. No, 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 no. You are not functioning in wisdom by acting that way. You are not. You are not. You are not. You are not. All right. Number 6, when you seek validation consistently and yet you are not satisfied by it, you have imposter syndrome. And number 7, when you have reduction in what is described as adventure capital. What does that mean? Your ability to do new things, to commence something new, to start a new journey. You are satisfied to only do what you feel you are proficient at, or you are proficient in, so to speak. When they say come and act drama, you say me, I don't have to. I only do usher. So you begin to shut down your creative potential because you don't want to try new things. Why people don't try new things is because they are afraid. People will realize that I may not be able to do this thing. Are you saying that? And final session for tonight. How do you come out? Please now pay attention. If so far you've gotten what I'm teaching, let me know. Let me know. When you say gotten what I'm teaching, write G-T. So I know that teaching now, you got it already. G-T. So those who may be seeing it later, they won't know what you are doing except they listen to the video, which is interesting. Okay. So how do you come out? Probably you feel this guy is describing me today. You are thinking, oh, this man is describing my situation. He's just exposing what I'm dealing with internally. How do you overcome that? I should be able to deal with this in 10 or 15 minutes. Just give me extra time. We are supposed to have 8 more minutes today, but give me just short minute after that. Number one, do you know whom you are? Let me give you a scripture and I would give you my interpretation of that scripture. And it's not a wrong interpretation. We don't read our mind to scripture because that is what that scripture is saying. When you read Psalm 139, verse 14, popular scripture, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Please pay attention. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. When you read it further, the beginning was that David was saying, I will praise you, O God, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And this my soul knoweth right well. First, let me tell you this. Your soul does not know anything except the thing it is taught. So you see that thing that David was saying there, it was the one who schooled his soul to believe that it was fearfully and wonderfully made. How do I know? When you read another psalm, when David is saying, bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not his benefit, he was telling the soul what to do. He knows the soul won't respond until you give him something as input. Then he began to say, the Lord that forgave your iniquity. By the time you teach your soul that there was something you were owing, you were paid, it burst out in gratitude. That's how you teach your soul. So your soul knows nothing except what you teach that soul. He said, I have fearfully and wonderfully made this my soul know right well. It means David taught his soul that you see the guy you are seeing here was made in reverence. The day you come to the identity that underpins your creation, guys, you yourself, you will be afraid of your personality. It's not pride. Do you know what it means when they say you are created in the image of God? You think we're talking about photograph? No, come on, guys. No. That is, you are created after the order of God. You are God kind of being. So, in the place of your making, everything God created, He created them by word, except you and me. God didn't create you by words. Let man be. No. Let there be. He called forth light out of darkness. Let there be firmament. Let there be this. Let there be this. Let this. When it gets to your own situation, you say, now, we have to do something. So you are a product of intentional forging. Is somebody getting what I'm saying? You are a product of intentional forging. You know what I mean? In the moment of your creator, I know Miles Muro said this thing years back, and some of you will have heard it. He said, when God was creating you, that fearfully there is that God Himself was careful not to make a mistake. That's fantastic. God doesn't make a mistake, but He described it to make you feel how powerful you are. But whatever the case is, just know that in the place of your making, you were created to be a fear to certain negative things on earth. The day you come to that realization of that capacity, that you are a threat to the kingdom of darkness, you are a threat to things that are anti-God, your creator, then you begin to walk in your power. Is somebody getting what I'm saying? So that's number one. Fearfully, you were created. I will show you what it means to manifest the fearfulness of your creation. The second one, now say wonderfully. It is the wonder that manifests the fear. There are things that happen and people will fear God. Say, who is this? That's the potential inside of you. You see, the word wonder, wonderfully made there. When you read the original rendition in Hebrew, if I'm not mistaken, is the word that is translated as Pawlaw, Pawlaw or something. When you say something is wonderfully made, I'm looking at a perfect word to describe that. I wrote something down. Let me read it for you so that hopefully I've not closed it. Hopefully. Yeah. The wonder there is uniqueness. You are crafted not as anybody's photocopy. Some of you don't believe that. That's why you are trying to copy somebody. You are trying to mimic somebody. You are trying to walk like somebody. All of us have been there at one point or the other. But that thing you are practicing every day is how to lose your wonder. By the way, I hope you know the way we communicate is the area where we're raised up. They say if you raise triplets and you put one in America, one in Europe, one in Nigeria, all of them will start speaking differently. But if you raise all of them in the same house, they will only have different pitch, the same tone, similar tone. So all those kind of stuff, they are small things. But you see, this idea you want to copy and clone somebody, that's how to lose your wonder. That's what I'm saying. The word wonderfully made there is that you are differently made. You are uniquely created. You are set apart. When you come to the identity of that reality, you cannot be in a room and feel you are not an asset. Irrespective of where you are across the nations of the earth. It is lack of this awareness that make people feel they will find me out very soon. That make people feel, oh, these guys will just know that my background is not that solid. Who cares about that, your background? You are the one who is still amplifying it. You are the one who is still amplifying it. In the place of your creation, you were created in, in glory. You were created in reverence. And you were created with uniqueness. That's number one. So when you have this awareness, you overcome imposter syndrome. Number two on my list, is accept the wonder that you are. Because when I say know who you are not your feeling. Because your feeling can be very deceptive. And let me tell you, 80% of the time, what you don't know is the people you are envying. Many of them are more timid than you, but they know how to manage their timidity. Fact. A lot of people you are envying, they are more timid, more agitated than you, except that they have overcome the timidity. How did they overcome it? What you don't know is every time you are afraid, you are comparing your internal worries to the physical manifestation of other people. Meanwhile, they all are manifesting that physical things you were seeing despite their fears, not because they don't have fears. Do you get the dynamics of what I'm saying? Let me share a story of a young lady for you. What identity can do, because sometimes you can lose the consciousness of this and you begin to mess yourself up. This young lady, a very small girl, this story was shared by the father publicly, who is a pastor in Ibadan. The young lady, I wrote it in my book, for those of you who have read my book. Some people, I'm not teaching this session to advertise books. So when I make reference to it, I wrote it. So, and I knew the value I put in there. So I can reference it the way I reference other materials. I've referenced 2 books in this teaching today. All right. So I shared the story of this lady. Something happened. The father took this lady for a competition, and the young lady got to that competition and she began to wonder. She was in awe. She used to participate in taekwondo. So she was going to combat the people she has never seen in her life. And she told the father, he said, Daddy, I don't want to go into the court at all. I don't want to do anything today. I just believe I'm not capable. I'm not capable. For the first time, the father saw what you will call sincere fear of his own daughter. And he said, daughter, you can do it. Do you remember this? Do you remember that? I said, Daddy, I said, I'm just demoralized. I'm not willing to fight. These guys, they look like people who are more, they are more than me, literally. But guess what? The young lady who was dealing and arguing with her dad, suddenly she began to hear the commentator read her profile. Come on now. In the revelation of who you are, can you allow God to read your profile to you? My God, my God, my God. If somebody get what I'm saying, you will enter into a life of ceaseless fear. Oh, sorry, ceaseless fearlessness. And the commentator began to read the citation of this lady, that this is the same lady. She has won so championship. She has done this. She has done that. Suddenly, the young lady began to hear the things she has done, and her head began to smile. Her head began to swell, rather. Her head began to swell. And she said, Daddy, that's my profile they are reading. I can fight any of these people. I can fight any of these people. I can fight any of these people. And the young lady, her energy, gusto, adventure ability, everything came alive again. And she went into the ring. Are you seeing that? Are you seeing that? So don't pay attention to your commonness or commonality. Pay attention to your uniqueness. And that uniqueness alone is the reason why you are needed. So there is no room that is bigger than you except the one you choose to, to belittle yourself and fall below. And you can fall below a lot of doors, no doubt about that. You can enter a room, they know that you're a wrong person, and they're not going to bring you again. Are you seeing that? So accept your uniqueness. You are. It is not a motivation, it's a reality. I told you from the scripture. You read Ephesians 2:10, the Bible is saying you are his workmanship. A workmanship. You are a product of God's craftsmanship designed unto good works. Even if you have not found that good work yet, which you should find, just know that it is there. So in your pursuit of discovery, you are not pursuing what you are not certain about. You know it is there. God does not create what is useless. God does not create a photocopy. That is the wonder. And the moment you lose your uniqueness, you have lost your wonder. You have lost your wonder. So accept your wonder. Then number 3, learn how to cast down imaginations. I had the privilege in our church in Ibadan, 2023 or so, to teach 2 different sessions on casting down imagination. I'm talking about like 1 hour, 15 minutes teaching or 1.5 hours teaching. I don't even know. Anyways, let's leave that. I remember somebody messaged me from one part of America. I said, I remember that the day I joined Bible study in your church, you were teaching this and this and this and that. He said, since that day, she was just saying something. I said, we bless God. I learned you are now in the US. I said, yes, I am. Oh, this and this and that. All of that. But learn to cast down imaginations. You are not the only one being visited by evil thoughts. Why it is affecting you is because you are the one giving residency to darkened counsel. You are giving residency to darkened counsel. When the Bible says you should cast down imagination, it said bring everything to the obedience of Christ. What does that mean? I spoke about you are a wonder, you were fearfully made. You make your life realities conform to the position of God. I'm a wonder unto many. Come on now. When you read the book of Psalm, can't you see the way David is reasoning? He said, I'm a wonder unto many. That's who I am. When you feel you've discovered me enough, when you feel you can summarize me, I always smile. Just for the scripture, not for self-bloating or, self exaggeration. No. It's just because I'm conscious that what is at work in me, There is another dimension that when it is activated, you will know that you have never met me before. Every people you see up there, this is the reality they know. And to the degree they know and engage it, then when you function in your wonder, the world will begin to relate with you as a wonder. They begin to relate with you as a wonder. But you have to cast down imaginations because a lot of things will be programmed against your heart to believe in a lie. To believe in a lie. It's a lie that you are not capable. Who is telling you that? You are not capable of some things, but you can't be incapable of everything. That's practically impossible. You can't be incapable of everything. That will mean that you have died and you are alive, man. You are alive, sis. So you have not died. So you have capacity inside of you. And that capacity is needed even in high places. So when you now get to the room, you didn't force yourself there. The moment they give you access into that room, don't feel you are not qualified for it. Let humility guide you, but don't feel other people deserve or something you are not deserving of. No. Who told you that? They didn't have to wait. Are you seeing that? So you cast down imaginations. You say, bring into captivity every deceptive fantasies. What does it mean to bring something into captivity? You bind that thing as if you are sending something to prison. Bible says God has not given us the spirit of fear. All the agitations you have, you borrow them. They are not part of the gift. They are not part of the things freely given to you. You borrow them. Return the fear from wherever you borrow it from. And you see, because we don't pay anything to get this thing, that's what Satan serves us every day. So not because you have returned the one he gave you yesterday, it's not going to give you another one. That guy doesn't get tired. You still be afraid, but you act, you go forward despite your fear. Despite your fear. You are not your condition. You are not. When you look at the story of Gideon, those of you who have read the book of Judges, this is somebody who was hiding, was sifting wheat and hiding from the Amalekite. And the angel of the Lord said to him, "Thou mighty man of valor." The guy began to smile. Anyway, the Bible didn't say he smiled, but he didn't agree with the angel. He said, if God is truly with us, where are the miracles that he wrought in the days of our father? Some of you, if they call you transgenerational impact maker, inside of you, say, they play. Me, they play. And if that is your situation, you can't become it. You can't become what you are not seeing. You can't. You can't. You can't. Oh. You can't. Again, you can't. You can't. Number 5. If I think it's number 5, right? I put it here that accept to be vulnerable. And for the sake of our time now, there are some of these points that I can sit on to teach an hour. How you will know is you will see some of the videos later because there are single lines I read out now that I can sit down and teach for 2 hours on it. But just accept to be vulnerable. You know what it means to be vulnerable? Stop being uptight. I don't want people to disrespect me. Oh. If they feel I can't do this thing now, be vulnerable. Some will dishonor you because they don't know who you are. Some will even disrespect you because you caused that disrespect. It's part of the wretchedness of human condition. Allow it, but don't dwell on it. Be vulnerable. This thing I'm about to do, people will react different way. It's their choice. Oh. It's their choice, man. It's their choice. Be vulnerable. Be vulnerable. And number 6, stop comparing your internal worries with external manifestation of people. Write this one down. I had the privilege of listening to one of the sought after personality in Nigeria. And on his own admission, he told the people, he said a lot of people who are really afraid to do any serious things is that they don't know that I used to be worse than them in terms of not believing in myself. But the day certain light comes to you, you will become another person. And that's the kind of things I'm trusting God for. They are going forward tonight, from tonight, you begin to see differently. You see life differently, you see yourself differently. You see life differently, you see yourself differently. And number 6, believe also that you have a right to be great, just like anyone else. There's a woman, I don't want to mention her name for the sake of her peculiarity, who just did some things around different countries. And I have a number. So I picked my phone and I called her. I said, I want to celebrate you. Some of you know, compliment is not scars in my mouth. I don't know how I learned it because I didn't grow up in a place where they compliment people like that. Let me be very honest with you. I didn't know where I learned it, but maybe in church or in through books. I shall know that complimenting people is not difficult for me. So I called her. I said, congratulations on your recent achievement, this and this. After everything, I now told her, like I used to tell some of you, especially those who are my mentees, that you see that thing you have done, you know it is not your best yet. Position yourself because the next level is something greater and bigger. I was speaking with Stella 2 days ago, and she posted it on her social media platform. It was just a mere interaction. I told her, I said, in God's scheme, in the system of God, by God's design, there is no better yesterday. Somebody is saying, is it talking like this? Simple, read your Bible. Proverbs 4:18 is that the path of the just is like a shining light. It shineth brighter and brighter unto the perfect day. There is no better yesterday. In fact, the Bible even warns that we should never say yesteryears is better because that is not God's design. He said, don't say it. So if it appears your current days, you are remembering better days in the past. I'm telling you, you are not in the will of God. No matter who is deceiving you, you are not. You are not in the will of God. In God's scheme, it is ever increasing glory. We all, with an open face, 2 Corinthians 3 and verse 18, we behold the glory of the Lord like in a glass, and we are transformed into the same level of glory, from glory to glory, from glory to glory, even as by the Spirit of the Lord. So it is ever increasing brightness, it is ever shining glory. Are you seeing that? And of his fullness have we all received even grace for grace. It is grace to grace, wherein the righteousness of God is revealed by faith, as it is written, the just shall live by faith. It is from faith to faith, grace to grace, brightness to brightness, glory to glory. That is God's design, people of God. Are you seeing that? That is God's design. That is God's design. So you have the right. So I was telling the story of my conversation with a woman, right? So I now told her, I said, woman of God, there is no height that is too high for a person on whose head the hand of the Lord is. There is no level we are operating in that we have people we are looking at ahead of us, right? That's correct. But I'm saying there is no height that is too great for a man on whose head the hand of the Lord is. And what does that mean? I said, I saw your participation in so. I said, I believe that in no distant time, you won't just be a participant in the meeting. You will be in the meeting as a resource person that people gather from different countries to come and hear speak. He said, thank you. You know, the person I'm talking about is a very great person. I can look at the prospect of what she's doing. Let me tell you what happened to me in 1 year like that. That year, I used to have some internal worries. Let me also share this with you, especially for those of you who grew up in village. You know, while I was in secondary school, I used to be the overall best student in school, all of that. So we now went for inter different school came in the constituency in 2010 to do something. So people came from better schools, so to speak, all of that, you know. And by the time we started attending that lesson, they wanted to choose best 10 students in the whole constituency by Senator Dr. Bodeola Jumoke, the pro-chancellor of Adekunle Ajayi University. He was a senator that time. He was the one who organized this thing. In a nutshell, by the time we got to that place, we saw people from other schools. Potentially, people from your school will see you as their representative. But we began to have this internal murmuring. Now you are standing face to face with people who are coming from better schools. This is when you will know you are a local champion. Meanwhile, the people saying that, the place where they are trying to call you local champion, they are less, they are not a champion even in that local area. You see that foolish people, they have boldness to rub their foolishness on you. And when you allow them to do the same, all of you now have resonance. You now have resonance. So at the end of the day, you see, to be honest, I myself, I never felt Greater Tomorrow student will be on ground, Federal Science student will be on ground, and I will come first. To be honest, I didn't have that kind of perspective. So the day they wanted to make the announcement, they went to make the announcement in Anglican Church, St. John's Anglican Church, on a Sunday. Later, they read those things in OSRC that year. We were giving money. So the day I was in church. We were just at the back, you know, and they said, they sent a list to us, this and this and that, and they were reading the names. And by the time they called my name, to be honest, I didn't hear, because you see how bad it was. I was never accepting that I would come first, especially because I have a friend. I don't want to mention his name here now. The guy did medical rehab in effect. To be precise, his name is Redwan. Very intelligent guy. This guy, when we sat for work, he wrote maybe 8 A's out of 9 or 7 A's. That's the way they used to write in Greater Tomorrow. So those guys, you sit for jam, they will score 300. I scored 243 in jam. The first one I wrote, I scored 222. So when my friend came and he said, I've already scored 278, another one said I scored 280. So literally, I just believe these guys here, they are better. So I gifted them that they are better than me. I'm telling you, life is not competition, but the people you accept to be better than you will be manifesting better around you. So when they now called my name that day, guess what? I was saying, is it that you see how bad what I'm teaching you is? Is it that they made a mistake? How would they that was me, supposed best student of a whole school. At primary six, I've been representing the entire Akoko local government in the state level in jet quiz competition. But I got to the point where I concluded I don't have what it takes to stand side by side with these people. And when a result came that was better than them, only one time, I said, they probably have made a mistake. Until I got a book, The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. It's not a spiritual book. It's a self-help book. Obviously, spiritual principles can be communicated. So a lot of times, we want to hear Vicstars, we want to hear realms. That's why people sound spooky and their life is void of manifestation. By the time I read that book, beloved, my God, it was just a liberation for me. I'm quoting the book now. In fact, okay, I think I left the book in Nigeria. I've read it to the point that it turned. So that's why I didn't pick it when I went the last time. And the man began to talk about your perception about yourself. Hey, as I read the book, I said, I don't have good perception about myself. So as I'm bringing this session to a close, I'm going to take 2 questions. If you have questions, please begin to type in 2-3 minutes while I'm trying to wind down tonight, after which we are going to shut down. Are you seeing that? It was in that book that the man said, you should accept that you are deserving of success, just like every other person. I said, that's true. I've always believed that every other thing I had is luck. The man who relies on luck will consider himself unlucky. Am I denying that there is no luck? You've heard it, that luck is when opportunity meets preparation. Fantastic. But those who get lucky in life, they are not the people looking for it. They prepare for it. And by their preparation, things break out. then everybody begins to do fine. But the one who is sleeping that one day, maybe somebody will remember me. Nobody's going to remember you. Anyone who remembers you will remember you to come and be his or her slave. If the MD of a major company in Nigeria says, God has brought your picture to my memory, come to Lagos. I hope you know that call, what is going to translate to is the stuff you are made of. Now, when I read the Bible, there are questions I ask. David said, who is left in the house of Jonathan that I can show kindness? All of that. They now say, Mephibosheth. Those of you who read the Bible, you understand the story I'm talking about. What did he do for Mephibosheth? Be eating with me on the table, full stop. We know Mephibosheth, the mother had issue when they gave birth to him, all of that. He was lame. So he was incapacitated, I know. But you see that nothing serious could be committed to him than mere privilege. Than mere privilege. Again, if you have a question, first indicate that you have a question so that we know we are waiting for your question. Then we can call it a night. Have you been enlightened tonight? So these are practical steps, and I'm not teaching you to make you excited. I'm happy for those who are engaging some of the things we are discussing because I watch out for my people. I watch out for my people to see that the whole idea is to see that what I'm speaking to you, you are engaging the same and you are getting better by it. That is the whole idea. Okay, Femi, you have a question. Interesting. That's number one. Who else has a question? If you have a question, indicate in the comment box. So, Femi, you can continue to type the question. Are we together now? You need to be decisive, especially where you are coming from when it is not looking like the future you are envisaging. I've said it time and again. Don't live life on autopilot. You will regret doing so. That's just the truth. I was speaking with a friend recently, and we got to a very difficult position in the conversation, and I was literally lamenting. And I said three things. Do I want to tell you now? I said, anyone who has not come to discover in his identity in Christ, there are three things I don't expect the person to do. Number one, don't get married. Number two, don't choose a mentor. Oh, some of my mentees, they are worried now. Okay, at the time I chose you as my mentor, me, I'm not sure of what I want to do. The idea now is if God now bless you with maybe somebody who is not going to run his own agenda through you, there's a way you can be taught to the place of uncovering your potential. So that becomes a blessing. God leads people. I taught something 2020, the first time I did Facebook Live in 2020, where I spoke about the relationships you must not lack. I described a set of people as destiny interpreter. That one. This one is not because you have discovered anything or you have seen any light. God just order your step to encounter them. If God orders your step to encounter encounter those kind of people, your life is made. Because there are people you meet, the trajectory of your life will change for better. There are people you meet, the day you join yourself to them, that is the day the greatness God has designed you for begin to nosedive. Because they will use everything within their capacity to mortgage it. And you will be saying, thank you, sir. Thank you, ma. Well, especially when you don't know what God wants to do through you. So I said, somebody should not get married. Because when you get married, you will now realize later that Multi-marry weaker, weaker version. Oh. And in the design, especially for us, the Christians, divorce is not the way out. So you just need to endure the weakness you have brought to your own life. But in any case, there is always an improvement that is possible, except that if the foundation is compromised, there is a level, there's a limit you can't transcend, even with best effort. Because the time you are supposed to be growing together, you are now setting foundation. Are you seeing that? I'm not going to tell you the third one I told the friend. There's nothing big there, but you can't understand it with due respect. So let me leave it. And the guy was screaming. I said, you don't need to scream. These are my observations. These are my observations. People are being objectified on daily basis, but with gratitude. And how do you want to blame them? They don't know better. They didn't have good models. Their parents couldn't teach them something solid on how to make life choices. I made a post, I don't know how many of you read it, about, I said, my letter to 21st century parents. In any case, let me take the question. I would like to ask if this phenomenon is normal or it is a sign, okay? That situation whereby it feels like my heart want to pop out of their socket whenever I get a platform to do something big. To the extent that it will feel like I made a mistake agreeing to do it in the first place. And is that rush of emotion and goosebumps normal, or it is something that should be worked upon? Very intelligent question. I have desired that somebody will ask this question. In a simple term, what you are asking now is not a weakness. It is human condition. It is human condition. Especially when you enter into the rooms that has not become a familiar zone. And that is why, if you're a preacher, that is the same posture you should be engaging anytime you want to bless people. Don't bless people as professionals. You won't pray again. You believe when I show up, things will begin to happen. You will begin to do lesser than your potential in God because God will not be glorified. What I'm saying is it is consistent with human condition that when we get to places we are not familiar with experientially, we will cringe. But what do? In spite of that internal fear, you act. Not without the fear, but in spite of it. Some of you know Vusi Temekwayo, right? If I'm calling his name correctly, the South African guy. Is, in Africa now, is one of the leading voices across the world. I used to see his clips, I have not been opportune to listen to any of his full teaching, but I see his clips and they bless me. Everything he posts, I see them. Not all, I mean, anything he posts that I've seen, they all bless me. So if anytime I see his posts, I don't want to scroll. There are posts I see, I just move on because I'm not interested. All right. Paul, he was saying how he walked into certain rooms that the people did not know that he was worried. And he was not talking about something that happened many years ago. Will you ever believe that someone like that could enter a hall and be feeling, my God, you need to help me today? But what do? We suppress that emotion so that it doesn't take a toll on us. Because you cannot be at your best when your courage is down. You cannot manifest your best when you are afraid. I mean, when you are under the influence of fear. So what do? For me, what bigger platform physically can I say I've spoken? Okay, the first time that I was challenged by something I wanted to do, not that the place was that big, it was in 2016 or something. They were doing what you call pulpit rotation in the Anglican church. There is something called Youth Week, where they send people from different Ajikiri to different Ajikiri to go and preach. I was not a diocesan executive, I was only an Ajikiri executive. But I was the one chosen in our archdeaconry to go and preach. So in a nutshell, when you get to the other place, they will think you are the president of your own archdeaconry. Later, I was acting, but I was not the elected president or appointed president. All right. So I now got to that church where I was to preach, and I was to preach in the archdeaconry seat. And in Anglican, we like formalities, all of that. So when we were entering, they asked me just to join the pastors in procession. You know what that means? The choir were filing in front of me. I was going with them. The ministers, the church pastor, and the wardens were behind me. And we were walking. It was as though you are getting married. So we're walking into the place. Then they asked me to sit down. I've been taking Sunday schools, all of that. We've been speaking. I remember as far back as 2012, 2013, through FOSU platform. No, World Light Associate, my friend and brother, Brock Binga, who is now a pastor, used to organize a program. So in those platforms, we've been going there to speak. In fact, those guys were so benevolent to give us platform. Why nobody even knew what to do. Just by having conversations, this thing you are saying, more people can hear it, you know. But so I was used to speaking with young people when I enter there, I do my stuff, I get out. But that day, they now asked me to climb what do you call this thing? Anyway, that's I've forgotten my Anglicanism understanding. But that place where the pastor used to stand to preach. It's not pulpits, don't call it pulpits. So there's a name we call those things in our in-house stuff. No, I used to do quiz in the youth fellowship. So there's something called Anglicanism. You have to know the name of the cap the bishop wears, the name of his cross, the number of button in his robe, all of this kind of stuff. The name of the first door when you enter the church, the all those kind of stuff. I can't remember now. What I'm thinking about is more. In a nutshell, I now go to that place. They asked me to climb there to preach, or for me to climb there to start preaching. And I saw face to face my secondary school teacher, who was already a chief in his community. He was already a chief. In my usual style, pay attention. This is what I do. If I get to a place and something frightens me, I've prayed, God help me. So I just know that we have started, we'll be done one way or the other. But this is what I'm going to do. The moment I start my introduction, I don't start my introduction anywhere with agitation. I start my introduction with something funny. It will not be funny to you, it will be funny to me. That is how I calm myself down. And the next statement I'm going to say, then your attention will have been transfixed. So why so when I get to places, I sincerely want to celebrate the presence of so person. So I got there, I greeted the ID King, I appreciated the youth for the opportunity. And I said, it's funny today that I'll be preaching to those who taught us while we were growing up. And it's now chief. I know his name. I called his name from there. I said, thank you, sir. Everybody began to smile. I told them, I'm preaching this community because this is where my mom is from. I said, so I'm one of the son of the soil, but I'm not your full son because I know where I'm from. Everybody began to smile. As I laid that there, everybody has become normal. And I preached my message. 2016, if I'm not mistaken, or 20, either I was still in school or I was awaiting mobilization because I just knew I was permanently living in Ondo State that time. And from there, later I had the opportunity of being invited almost every year to come and preach in the youth board. Those were the things that led to that. But the first day I showed up there, to be honest with you, that's the long and short to answer your question. I was a bit agitated to start. So I've not spoken in a stadium yet. So I don't know how I'm going to feel if I get to a stadium. Because when I see some meetings and I see, you just see heads. But everybody, there is always the first time of doing something. It is your duty not to make people know because they really don't know it's your first time. So don't tell them. Are you seeing that? Thank you, Yinka. I want my Anglican here. I want Tiwa here. You see that? I don't know if that answers your question. So what you are experiencing is consistent with human condition. But we have learned how to manage it better than one another. And through use, when you are consistently doing something, you become more courageous than you will do better than you did the last time. So your boldness is enhanced through use. So boldness is not bold face. There is a courage that is accomplished by consistency. One of the, is this person's not a preacher. One of the sought after young man or young men, one of the sought after young men in Nigeria, I was shocked the day he said it on one open platform that he was always afraid to stand in front of camera, not even in the front of people. That just seeing himself to record himself, he would just close it and say, "Oh boy, no, this is not my thing, Jerry." But today, if the same guy is speaking, you want to wonder who taught this guy this thing. So I think, let me know if you get the clarity of what I'm saying. So we deal with it better than one another. People don't know. You are the one who knows. So don't announce to them, "I'm afraid now. I'm really afraid." If it's if see, when your track record is already speaking, there are things you can say and nothing will happen. If you already have millions of followers, people, when they announce your name without reading your profile, people already have expectation. You can tell them that, "Do you know I'm actually afraid?" They will clap. But you enter a place where people have started despising you, that who is this person? Is it that they want to waste their time now? You are now telling them, "I'm sorry, this is my first time." No, no, no. Don't copy the way the successful people joke. Their joke is not your joke. Because people miss it a lot. But in a place where your work already speaks for itself, you can enter and do freestyle. People won't pick it. They won't even care. They just say, "He's enjoying himself." Are you seeing that? Then preparation. Finally, preparation. Every time you get to certain places, the environment can dictate to you that, "Guy, you are not prepared enough for this opportunity." So it can happen. That's why we rely on God and we just give our best and move on. But a lot of times, what comes straight to your mind is, "Oh boy, hey, am I sure I'm well prepared?" I was to speak on a platform. It was not even a physical platform. It was a virtual platform, and I didn't have enough time. In fact, they didn't publicize it, so we didn't share this thing. That was when I just got to the United States, 2023. If they sent me the flyer and they said you don't share, now why did you design the flyer? Already sent me a letter now. So eventually we didn't share. That thing didn't go out. I was very busy. I didn't have time. A lot of times when I want to teach like this, don't think I will now sit down and be searching different places. There are moments I search when you want to teach on something that you need more knowledge about. But the first thing I want to do is I want to align my thoughts. So I need time of zero disturbance. I couldn't have it. I was writing exams. I was under, in fact, I was under what you would call pressure. I was literally under pressure that I wish to say, "Sir, can you shift this thing?" But I've said yes, I've said yes. So I appeared to teach there. I only prayed. See, just few hours before the meeting, I noted in a short paper. I have a lot of sticky paper here. Then just talk around this area, talk around this area. I didn't even have enough time. As at the time I was saying opening prayer on their platform, to be honest with you, I did not know where I want to start from. I don't have that every time, but I had it that day. In fact, my mind was not there. So I have to pray in tongues, pray in tongues, pray in tongues very well. And the pray in tongues is not as if I have abundant of time. I have the opportunity to do that, but I was engaging that consecutively. So when I got to the place, I said, "No, can I speak to these people from my heart?" So a lot of times, your preparation turn you to a default. Uh, ah, there is something that best describe what I'm trying to say. You know, when they call you a conduit pipe, there are a lot of times that your daily preparation will turn you to a default conduit, such that you don't need to consult anything. From the abundance of what is inside of you, you can dispense value and move on like that. All that you need is to know the emphasis of the moment and trust God for your trust. That's for those who are in the space of communication you are speaking. If you speak in a place for 2 hours and everything you are saying, you can't even do it for 2 hours. But if you speak in a place and everything you are saying there, they are the things you have written. You are not functioning under grace now. That is a simple indicator that you are not under grace. you are you are laboring. You prepare. When we read the books, are you reading always? Now, I'm not being particular about you. I'm talking to everybody. You are not reading every day to teach, to speak to people. You are not studying the Bible every day because you naturally have a sermon. But in the place of that's why your friends sometimes communication you had no plan about. You engage in it to a level and people start screaming, wow, wow, wow. Why? Something is there. I've told you before, be a walking repository of knowledge so that you can display. You know, there is a guy that used to do one funny skit. He will be walking like this. They say, man, will go share me ref or something, and he will drop something. This kind of funny stuff. So that's where we're going to stop today. Once again, thank you for joining. We apologize for starting late. I've been ready more than 30 minutes before the time, but whatever reason, the thing was not coming up as expected. It happens. This is United States. So that is, I am familiar with that in Nigeria, but it can tell you human beings are the same everywhere. It is the system that is better in some part of the world. Thank you. Permit me to pray for you as we close tonight. Again, it's not a preaching session, but a lot of the things we hear, there is need for enablement by the Spirit of grace to accomplish. Therefore, in the name that is above all names, I decree and I declare that the life and the spirit of what you have heard, especially the enabling grace to, to do, may it rest upon you. I proclaim into your life in the name that is above all names. Every limiting factors that want to bring you lower than you God's design for your destiny, I speak and I rebuke them. And I say today, you receive empowerment to subdue them. Going forward, the fragrance of the beauty of the Lord is what your life will continue to manifest. For your sake, everyone acquainted unto you or acquainted with you, they are blessed. This week, there will be no negative report that will be heard concerning you. Go in this thy might. And may the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit rest and abide with you now and forevermore. Amen. Please have a great week ahead. Bye for now.